Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. I am Muhammad Fakrul Aiman bin HANAPI, and my partner is Muhammad AMAR bin ABDUL GHANI. Now we will present the topic about evolution of Shariah rulings based on Ijtihad and custom due to changing time. Okay, the first is introduction. The term of introduction, Shariah rulings refer to the moral and legal prescription drawn from Islamic source based on Al-Quran and Hadith. Okay, the scholars who use logic and legal theories to solve the current challenge based Shariah ruling their interpretation of this fundamental text. Okay, the Sharia law also have evolved and been modified from time to the time, depends on the condition of time, like culture, technological and social. Okay, the fundamental tenet of Sharia also have not changed. However, um, but how they have been interpreted and applied has changed over the course of history and various settings. There are many factors can make evolution Sharia changing. Okay, for example, the first is Ijtihad. The second is the factor on mazhab. The third is factor on societies and change in society and technology, and the last is contextualization. First, the ijtihad. Ijtihad is term used to describe the independent legal reasoning process used by knowledgeable scholars to draw a new ruling from the fundamental Islamic sources. Okay, ijtihad has been used historical by scholars to address new situations that have not been clearly addressed in traditional Islamic literature. Okay, the second example is mazhab variation. Mazhab variation over the year, various schools of Islamic law, we call mazhab, have appeared, each with its own method and interpretation of Sharia. Okay, this change have made it possible to be flexible and adapt to many cultural and geographic environments. Okay, to keep Sharia decisions current, scholars within each mazhab engage in continue interpretation and discussion. Okay, the next example is the third example is change in society and technology. Scholars and jurists examine how Sharia principle can be applied to this new situation as society change and new technology are developed. Okay, this covers among other things concerned with bioethnic, money, governance, and human right. Okay, these interpretations are frequently that the focus heated in academic discussion. Okay, the last example is contextualization. Okay, the social and cultural circumstances in which Sharia law are used also have an impact. Although the fundamental ideas stay the same, but the practical application may change to meet the requirement and condition of others communities.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amar and I will be discussing about the evolution of Sharia rulings due to changing of times based on Ijtihad. One way in which Sharia rulings have evolved over time is through the process of Ijtihad, which is the application of reason and independent judgment to derive new rulings based on existing Islamic sources. In the early centuries of Islamic history, Ijtihad was a vibrant and dynamic process with scholars from different regions and schools of through engaging in lively debates and producing a wide range of legal opinions. However, Over time, the process of ijtihad became more formalized and restricted, with many scholars adhering to established interpretations and discouraging innovation. Sharia rulings change according to the changing times to do two things. First is time corruption. The change in time that needs the changing of the fatwa may emerge from the corruption of people, the fall of their morals, the loss of scruples, the weakness of pity, which leads to the change in rulings to reflect and avoid this corruption. So for the past examples involving time corruption is alcohol drinking punishment. When he saw people preoccupied with drinking, Omar doubled the limit of the drinker permission to discourage them from the drinking. Second is evolution time. The occurrence of organizational conditions may cause a change in times, and new time means things of importance such as legal orders, administrative arrangement, economic procedures, and so on. So the example involving evolution of time is handing over the sole property. It is common knowledge that giving over the property to the buyer occurs only by unloading the property and physically handing it over to him, or by allowing him to hand over his key and so on. However, as time and real estate records progress, it became clear that delivery occurs as soon as the contract is registered in the real estate registry. The next one is the evolution of Sharia rulings, changing of time based on custom. Custom or uruf is one of the methods used for the evolution of Sharia rulings due to changing times. Uruf to the customary practices and traditions of particular society. In Islamic law, urufs considered as a valid source of Sharia rulings as long as it does not contradict the principle of Islamic law. Proof that custom as source of reference for Sharia rulings is Al-Karafi stated in this regard. To keep applying the Sharia rulings derived from custom after the custom has changed, conflict with consensus and is a manifestation of ignorance of the religion. In fact, any aspect of the Sharia that follows custom change to the extent dictated by the evolving custom. Ibn Nujam once said so, custom is given legal consideration only when it is recurrent or prevalent. So these are the examples of evolution of Sharia rulings due to changing times. First is slavery. Slavery was one widely accepted in Islamic societies, and Islamic law provided rules for the treatment and ownership of slaves. However, over time, many Muslim scholars began to argue that slavery was incompatible with Islamic principles of justice and equality. Next is women's right. While Islamic law provides for women's rights, such as the right to inherit and to own property, traditional interpretation often limited women's social and political roles. However, in recent decades, there has been growing movement among Muslim scholars to reinterpret Islamic texts to support women's rights, including the right to education, employment, and political participation. Third one is finance. Islamic finance has evolved in response to changing economic conditions and the need to find financial instruments that are compatible with Sharia rules. For example, the Islamic finance industry has developed sukuk or Islamic bonds which are structured to avoid interest and instead provide returns based on the underlying asset. Lastly is human rights. Muslim scholars have long debated the relationship between Sharia law and human rights. In recent years, there has been growing movement among Muslim scholars to reinterpret Islamic texts to support human rights, including the right to freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and gender equality.
Next, we talk about the application of evolution of Sharia rulings to Islamic banking and finance. Islamic banking finance have undergone significant evolutions in Sharia rulings due to changing times. Islamic finance seeks to provide the financial product and service that are complying with Sharia law, which prohibits interest-based transaction and profit and loss sharing and risk sharing. Okay, so there are some examples of the evolution in Sharia rulings related to Islamic finance and Islamic banking. Okay, the first example of Islamic finance is sukuk. Okay, the sukuk is provide return based on the underlying asset and project and are widely used in Islamic finance. Okay, sukuk is or bond. Okay, in recent years, the Sharia rulings related to sukuk have evolved to include a broader range of asset and structures, such as green bond and hybrid sukuk. Okay, the second example is Islamic banking product. Islamic bank product financial product and services that are compliant with Sharia law, including profit and loss sharing account, saving account, and financing for business and individuals. Okay, the Sharia rulings related to Islamic banking product have evolved to meet the changing needs of customer and the global financial market. Okay, for example, the Islamic product is Islamic have developed products such as Islamic credit card, home financing, and car financing. Okay, the next example is the third is Islamic microfinance. Microfinance is way to provide small loan and financial services to people who are excluded from traditional banking services. Okay, Islamic microfinance adheres to Sharia law and provide financial service to low income individual and small businesses. Okay, the Sharia rulings related to Islamic microfinance have evolved to include new product and services such as Islamic micro insurance and Islamic crowdfunding. Okay, the last example is socially responsible investment. Okay, Islamic finance is based on ethical and moral principles, and there is growing interest in socially responsible investment in the industry. Okay, Sharia rulings related to socially responsible investment have evolved to include guidelines for investment in environmentally sustainable project, social investment, and investment that adhere to Islamic value. In conclusion, the evolution of Sharia based on custom and ijtihad independent reasoning is an important aspect of Islamic jurisprudence. Over time, from time to time, as societies evolve and new challenges emerge, there is a need for Islamic scholars and jurists to interpret the Sharia in light of contemporary circumstance. Okay, it recognizes that the principle and value of Islamic are timeless, but their application may require adaptation and interpretation in different contexts and eras. Okay. However, it's important to note that the process of ijtihad and acceptance of custom are subject to scholarly consensus and rigorous methodology. Okay. In conclusion, the evolution of Sharia based on custom and ijtihad allows for the adaptation of Islamic law to changing time, circumstance, and society needs. It provides a framework through which Islamic principle can apply in a dynamic and relevant manner while maintaining the essence and integrity of the Islamic legal system. Okay, that's all from us. The topic about evolution of Sharia rulings uh, based on ijtihad and custom due to changing time. Okay, that's all from